post-match pint after Liverpool are frankly dreadful for much of the game against Old Trafford. They ever so slightly redeem themselves as it wears on, but Liverpool just simply not good enough in all areas of the pitch. Neil Dockin, this is on the verge of becoming a crisis. It might actually be a crisis. It's 2 points from the first 3 games. If I felt Liverpool being hard done by today, if I felt that Manchester United, Manchester United play well, but if I felt that Manchester United had nicked one, if I thought that it was a 2-1 where they go 1-0 up, rearguard action, nick another, go from there. The fact of the matter is Liverpool are second best.
Yeah.
They're second best, and that's what's as concerning as the outcome.
Yeah, they absolutely are. There's been plenty of times down the years at Old Trafford, even at Anfield against United, where there's been a John O'Shea header, there's been a sting in the tail. You felt Liverpool have played so well and come away with nothing. That's not the case tonight, other than maybe the 20 minutes before half-time, where I felt we took control of the game.
The old 20 is generous, by the way.
Well, I'm trying to be optimistic here. They were just poor. They've set such high standards, this football team, and the individuals within it have set such high standards.
Yeah, but fuck them, they're playing for us now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Literally, there's a job to be done now.
Yeah, but my point is going to be is that they're currently, some of those players are so far below the standard they've set. Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold have got to look at themselves tonight and say, have I given anywhere near my best? And they haven't. And seasons can get away from you. And this season very quickly could get away from us if we don't get our act together fucking sharpish.
Get our act together. I mean, I'm looking at this, Steve, tonight, and they start poorly. They manage to get a foothold into the game when United sort of begin to tire, which they're always going to do.
Yeah.
But they don't do the start of the second half right. I don't know what on earth. I think towards the back end of the first half, I thought Henderson was playing quite well. I don't know what on earth he's doing around the goal. There is a crisis. The building is burning down. Yeah. It's time to raise the alarm. It's time to do something. It's time to ring the siren. And instead he just watches them when he should just jump on his back, do everything it takes, take the yellow card and go from there. And for me, Liverpool, they don't seem urgent enough in all areas of the pitch. I've mentioned Henderson there. Neil's mentioned Trent. He's mentioned Virgil. All those 3 names are right to be mentioned. They're not urgent enough.
And these rich champions, I think this is the, people often go, they want to look past the players they really like and go, this is the problem. Milner's the problem, for example, today. But I think these rich players he looks to. This is his leadership group. In lots of different ways. He's lost a key member of that in the summer, and he needs some of these to step up. Frankly, I thought against Crystal Palace, and Fulham, I'd just like to see, particularly Van Dijk, and I don't want to single out an individual, but just to feel like we're all right here. We've got Virgil van Dijk on the pitch. There's a standard that's set here, and it just felt like at times playing within themselves, and then just not able to go beyond.
They're playing themselves point, Steve. I think it's really interesting because I think the same. I think they were thinking, we'll let United have their big 10, and we'll let them do that. We'll let them punch themselves out. We'll let them be tired, and then we'll look to come out the other side. But they're not showing crisis mode for the entirety of their first goal. At no point does Trent Alexander-Arnold seem to act as though there's a threat. There's things happening around him that need to be dealt with. No. And I'm just sort of watching this now. James Milner's aware that there's a threat. I think Joe Gomez is aware that there's a threat. But repeatedly, there's Liverpool players who are acting like, well, this will just sort itself out in a minute. The keeper will be great, or someone else will step in. You need to take responsibility.
This is what happens to teams when they have just gone one step too far in terms of they've just gone beyond their capabilities perhaps for a little while. They've lost
you played a lot of games last year.
Do you know, I think one thing they've lost, and looking back at Manchester United games, is the sort of little bit of magic player who might not always be there for you. But I mean, Origi being a great example, Shaqiri in previous games, Daniel Sturridge going back, the sort of reduced version of Daniel Sturridge that we got, where you went, well, I can see how this happens with this player coming on the pitch now. I think Carvalho does really well when he comes on. But we just don't have that kind of like little bit of a misfit knocking around now. It's almost like we've slimmed it down so much, and the bench itself speaks for itself in that sense. We've kind of trimmed all the fat from this squad to a certain extent, and you're then left with either players who literally can't play, or players who look like they've just gone one step beyond. I mean, we've got the dream game coming up next. You couldn't wish for a better home game to get yourself back on track. And to feel like all is not lost, you've got the Champions League draw on Thursday. You've got loads of things to start to focus on next. but you really need to start feeling like there is some life in this Liverpool team.